Welcome back, fellas. I actually have some amazing news for you all today. The Stop Killing Games initiative has officially passed the 1 million vote threshold, and it's still climbing. This is huge, and honestly, I think we all owe a big thank you to Pirate Software, because whether he meant it or not, he really showed the world what the Streisand effect is all about.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm gonna actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful. Eat my entire ass. This shit sucks. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I dropped the mask entire. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
For the boys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and let's get into the video. Not so much drama today, more like general shit-flinging. Alright, let's get it. So to kick things off, what is the Stop Killing Games initiative? Well, SKG is a consumer rights and game preservation movement started by Ross Scott, you know, the guy behind Freeman's Mind, and the channel Accursed Farms. It's aimed at protecting players from the all-too-common trend of companies shutting down games entirely after a few years, sometimes with zero warning. Depending on what games you play, maybe you never really thought about whether a game could just disappear. And that's fair, but for a lot of people, especially fans of live service or online-only titles, this is a very real, very present threat. See, the current trend in the gaming industry is that a game's life is tied directly to how well it sells. If the numbers don't hit, well, the servers get pulled and that's the end of it. And sure, that makes sense from a business perspective, but you could see the issue with that when you realize it means games you paid real money for can be rendered completely unplayable. Like, imagine buying Concord for $40 and then the server gets shut down a week later because only 10 people bought the damn thing. What if you and those 9 people still wanted to play? What if you wanted to host your own matches on your own servers? Well, that's exactly why the SKG initiative exists. It would push for laws that require game companies to implement an end-of-life plan. So when they decide to shut a game down, they have to offer some way for players to keep playing. That could mean local servers, offline modes, or even open sourcing part of the game's back end. Concord is kind of an extreme case because it flopped right out of the gate, but the core idea applies across the board. Games shouldn't just vanish. I mean, fuck, think about it. Valve's been doing this for years. TF2 is essentially a community-driven game with the servers, the game modes. Hell, they're even making MVM maps now. It's not rocket science. Other studios could easily do the same, but they just don't. And again, this isn't a controversial idea. Most gamers, preservationists, even developers are behind it. But here's the twist. One very loud and prominent voice in the dev scene isn't. That voice is Pirate Software, also known as Jason Thor Hall. Now, if you don't know who that is, here's the rundown. Jason's a solo indie developer, ex-Blizzard employee, an ex-Amazon Game Studio guy, and the creator of Heartbound, an emotionally driven pixel art RPG that just isn't fucking done yet. We are nearing Yandere Simulator years here. But outside of the dev work, he's built a massive following by streaming game development on Twitch and ranting loudly about all the broken nonsense in the game industry. Basically, the angry uncle of indie devs, but sometimes he has a point. He is very pro-game preservation, very anti-DRM, and extremely open about his hatred for the companies that shut down games people paid for. So, you'd think he'd be totally on board with the Stop Killing Games initiative, right? Well, not exactly. See, despite agreeing with the idea, Pirate Software came out against the actual petition tied to the initiative, the one trying to get the EU regulators involved. And here's why. According to him, the petition is too vague. It doesn't clearly define what counts as, quote, shutting down a game, or what kind of game it targets. He's worried that if it becomes law, it could accidentally hit every live service game, including indie games, even the ones that were never meant to be preserved forever. He also raised concerns about resource limitations. Big companies like EA and Ubisoft can afford to build end-of-life plans, but what about the two-person studio that hosts their own server-based game? He argued that laws like this could force indie devs to spend time and money that they don't have, or risk getting sued or banned from platform. Oh, I'll be fair. He's not wrong to be cautious, and a lot of people respect that perspective, but the way he presented it was, well, let's just say it didn't exactly land gently. His response was so aggressive and so immediate and so loud that it ended up drawing a ton of attention to the campaign he was criticizing. Like, people who hadn't even heard of Stop Killing Games before suddenly cared about it, and I'm one of them. And those people signed the petition out of spite. So ironically, by trying to shut down support for the initiative, he ended up making it go viral. That's the Streisand effect in full force. Now, to be fair, Jason's concern isn't preservation. He genuinely wants people to be able to play games forever. His main issue is with poor legislation and the possibility that laws written too broadly could have unintended consequences. And honestly, as stupid as he is and as much as I don't like him, that's a fair critique. Good laws need good language, but at the same time, something needs to be done. because letting companies just hit the delete button on entire games that people paid for is insane. And of course, this didn't happen in a vacuum. Once Pirate Software's video and stream started blowing up, Ross Scott, the creator of the Stop Killing Games initiative himself, responded. And his tone? Well, honestly, it was pretty chill considering how aggressive the pushback had been. Ross didn't attack Jason personally, and he didn't try to start drama. Instead, he just clarified what the petition was actually saying, and more importantly, what it wasn't. According to Ross, the petition is not trying to kill live service games. It's not demanding that all devs release source code to keep servers up forever. What it does ask is for a basic end-of-life plan. That could be as simple as a patch that lets the community keep the game alive through LAN, peer-to-peer, or community-run servers. He emphasized that this would only apply when a company decides to shut a game down permanently, not while it's still being supported, updated, or played actively. In other words, this isn't about regulating games while they're alive, it's about giving them a life after death. Ross even acknowledged that the petition could be improved. He invited Pirate Software and others to talk with him directly and help refine the language to avoid exactly the kind of issues that Pirate Software was worried about. And that's the part that's kind of wild. Ross was never opposed to discussion. He actually wanted collaboration, especially from developers like Pirate Software who understand the technical and business sides of the problem. But as far as anyone knows, Pirate Software didn't take him up on the offer. So now we've got this situation where both sides, Ross and Jason, largely agree on the big picture problem. Games shouldn't be wiped off the face of the earth just because they're no longer profitable. But they're clashing on the how. Ross wants legislative pressure to force companies to stop deleting games. Jason's worried that poorly written laws could backfire and hurt the wrong people. It's one of those classic cases where the disagreement isn't over the goal, it's over the method. And the internet, of course, turned it into a full-blown shouting match. So where does this leave us? Honestly, this whole debate has been way overdue. For years, we've just sort of accepted that games, especially online ones, come with an expiration date. Like, you buy it, you play it for a while, and eventually some executive somewhere flips a switch and it's just gone. It's fucking gone. But that's not normal. That's not okay. And more importantly, that doesn't have to be how it works. The Stop Killing Games initiative isn't perfect, no petition is, but it's the first real shot at forcing this conversation into the spotlight. And now that over 1 million people have backed it, companies and lawmakers just can't ignore it anymore. Yeah, there's disagreement on the details. Yeah, Pirate Software raised some questionable concerns, but at the end of the day, this is about something bigger, digital ownership and consumer rights. Because if you pay money for something, you should be able to keep it, not rent it until the publisher decides it's no longer profitable. But if you care about the game preservation, if you think killing a game you bought should at least come with a backup plan, then speak up, sign the petition. If you're in the EU, if you're American, well, you can share it, you can talk about it, you can get the conversation going. Because the more noise we make, the harder it is for companies to quietly delete history. Anyway, that's enough of that for today. Thanks for sticking around. If you liked the video, drop a like, hit that sub button, and tell me in the comments where you stand on the whole debate. Are you Team Pirate? You better not be. Are you Team Ross? Well, you better fucking be. Or somewhere in between. You better be on Team Ross. But until next time, take care of yourselves, and more importantly, don't support Pirate Software. He's a fucking clown.